Thank you for staying with us on our program. Mr. John Samuel is here with me in the studio, and of course, he has been in the Postal Department for many, many years in very, very senior positions. And he's talking to me about what it means to be working in a mammoth organization like that. He spent 35 years of his career. Now, so one of the important highlights of your career has been your stay in Jammu and Kashmir. So, what was that like?
And that was one of the most enjoyable experience for me.
Indeed.
Yeah, though people say, oh, it was a tough posting, and for me, it was my passion for transforming the society, where they needed us very much in terms of transforming the whole community. And as a Chief Postmaster General, I could go to almost every nook and corner where I was much welcome. And one of the things that I did was where the post offices were closed at that particular time due to various reasons that it was a challenging times. My first task was to sit with the people, say, since they wanted a postal service that will really help them in terms of their quality of life, all the post offices were open back. And in Srinagar, we opened a post office, even a night post office we call, even very late in the night.
I read about that.
Yes.
Till what time?
It works until night 10 o'clock, and where people can come, and there are occasions when the entire city or the entire state is down because of Bandh or very many factors. We ensured that the post office was open always.
Right.
It helped the people substantially.
Right. What about the all-women post office?
Oh yeah, that was another interesting thing, because no, I am basically for the women empowerment. I wanted
Great, I like
and
that.
Kashmir is a place where the women are such fine people, and they would like to be part of that kind of society where. So we said, okay, why not we start many women, all women post offices. I was invited to a few colleges where the women in Kashmir, for example, Srinagar Women's College, they were so happy that the post office is employing many women. And so when we started this all women post office, people walked to and those post offices also were doing pretty good. And
really?
yes, they were amazing. They came up with very good ideas. Post office is all about innovation. So some of these people came up with very innovative things. It all started, when I went there, there were, because of the challenging times,
Yes.
not many people came forward for many common or public programs. Said, let's start with a, what do you call, run for Srinagar, involving the entire post office and involving the school children. So many people said, now if you are inviting the school children to participate in this particular thing, you don't, I don't think you will get enough people over there because of the local situation. But there were more than 1,000 young girls, most of them, almost 70% were girls and another 30% boys. They came and around Dal Lake for 2 hours. We had a beautiful run. So that became a kind of a connecting with people. So more than, I mean, along with the postal service, my role there is not only just postal service, it was development of the whole community. So the connecting with the people, involving them in sports, involving them in youth development programs, involving in many other things which really they need to be pushed in.
Right. I'm going to take you up on this connecting with people. We don't seem to see that much of the postal department trying to connect with people these days. Do you think that there's enough going on? And I don't mean to sound critical or to ask you to sound critical, but don't you think we should have far more interactions? I mean, not just a stamp exhibition occasionally.
Post office was developed and designed only for connecting with the people. That's how it works as a independent department of the government. Otherwise, it does not have much purpose. So it's apart from delivering the letters, it should connect with the people, build the community, encourage them in every areas. And I think that I was able to achieve in Kashmir or wherever I was posted, because even in Chhattisgarh where I was posted there, in Bastar, there was a tough area.
Yes.
I was in Raipur and went to Bastar and found out what exactly was their need. And there were people who were right inside Bastar. They did not know how to get medicine because it's quite far off from the common place.
And very remote, really.
Very remote.
Yes.
So we said, okay, the postmen, when they come inside, if you require some of the very basic medicines which is available over the counter, wherever over the counter medicines are required, the postman will go there. Two things he used to do. because these people can't read the letters, and their children were studying in some schools in the towns.
Yes.
So when the letters were received by the parents, the postman's job is to read out to them and then write a letter back to their children. And secondly, whenever there is a kind of a medicine and this kind of requirement, the post office also enable them to get such things. This is how the post office became an institution where it was connecting with people.
That really is connecting with people.
Yes.
There must be such a huge sense of satisfaction.
That's right.
Doing that for people who would otherwise be virtually stranded in a way.
Exactly.
Right. Of course, you then moved away from the Indian environment, and you were, I know, involved with the United Nations, and I want to talk about that, and then move into the fact that you were in Thailand for many years.
That's right.
What was that all about? Let's talk about the UN first.
I was a specialist on the postal services from the very beginning, and so the United Nations and Universal Postal Union, they appointed me as their consultant for establishing postal system in different countries.
Okay.
That's one of the areas where Post and Telecom, in terms of their training, in terms of establishing postal system. So I was a consultant for the United Nations on this fact. Secondly, I was based in Bangkok for 5 years.
So what was your job in Bangkok? You were responsible for 36 countries, I guess.
Yeah, around 32 Asia Pacific
Asian
countries,
region.
basically.
Okay.
Yes. There's a place which we have a postal system which links all these 32 countries.
Okay.
Asia Pacific Postal Union, which comes under the Universal Postal Union under United Nations. My role was to give them a kind of a how the post office can be transformed. And they send me to different countries, first of all, to developed countries which are very advanced, most of the European countries, Australia, New Zealand, how the postal system has really
Evolved.
Yes, has evolved, and how they have been successful today. Right. Then benchmarking those best practices, how the other post offices can also be transformed. Right. And then not only post office, even the telecom. Right. And the entire government. So my role is basically to help the governments in terms of their transformation of the government as a whole, and specifically the postal systems.
Right, Mr. Samuel, I'm sure you did a great job on that one. And time for another short break. We'll be right back with you here on Going Beyond.